I remember on set being like, John was like, what should I do exactly? And so we were looking up videos of people being tased so that he could act like someone that was tased. And that's kind of what they look like when he did.
We really are the Apple Dumpling Gang.
They are the Apple Dumpling Gang, yeah. Welcome, everyone, to Peacemaker, the official podcast with James Gunn. Yes, the name of our podcast is also Peacemaker, except for there is Peacemaker : the official podcast after the name. I don't know who named this show and put James Gunn in the title.
I love we're still talking about that on the final episode.
16 episodes in. I'm James Gunn. I am the writer and director of Peacemaker and the creator of the show, and I directed this episode, and I'm here with my co-host, Jennifer Holland.
Hello. Hi, I'm Jennifer Holland, and I play Emilia Harcourt on Peacemaker.
And
Steve Agee. I play John Economos on both seasons of Peacemaker.
And you play
Contrary.
Steve Agee on Peacemaker, the podcast.
Yes, that is true.
And I play James Gunn, and she plays Jennifer Holland.
This is also true.
I also play her husband in real life.
True.
When I drove into work this morning, a song called Harvest Moon by Jeff Rosenstock, and I think Laura Stevenson came on, and it reminded me of Jen when we were dating, before I left to go shoot Guardians 2, and you made that, we saw
the blood moon.
The blood moon. It was a night of a blood moon. It was the last time we were going to see each other before I went away to Georgia, and I didn't know if we were going to ever really be together again because we were not boyfriend-girlfriend. We were just dating and never talked about our relationship at all.
Oddly, we
for 4 months.
Started dating just a couple of months before you were leaving for a year to go film, and we kind of knew this was happening and you were going away, and we just never really talked about what that would mean if we were ever going to see each other again or for a year or what. Like, we just never talked about it. It was kind of nice, you know? There was just no pressure for either of us. It allowed us both to really just be ourselves and get to know each other.
Yeah, I would suggest that to anyone that's dating out there. I've always jumped into relationships. Anyway, let's make fun of the title some more.
All right.
Well, this is what we do here is we go behind the scenes on Peacemaker. That was really behind the scenes on Peacemaker.
Yeah, that was deep.
This is the final episode of Peacemaker Season 2. Maybe the final episode of Peacemaker. Really?
Today we're talking Season 2 finale, Episode 8. It's entitled Full Nelson. It's directed by James Gunn, of course. We could not have done this incredible episode without you.
And also, as always, one last time, spoilers, big spoilers. This is the finale. So please go to HBO Max and watch this if you haven't already.
Okay, this is a really big episode we got to get into. It's called Full Nelson. Why is it called Full Nelson?
It's a full Nelson.
We finally get to see the party boat that we've been hearing about the entire season. We open up with a flashback, as we do every episode. It's a month ago. We are in Big Belly Burger, and we shot this scene in Savannah, Georgia. God, it's a beautiful place. Savannah's a wonderful city if you've never been there. And the people there are great. We had such a fun time hanging out there for a couple days. The Big Belly Burger looks so realistic that when we opened it up and we're getting ready, that people were coming up and trying to order burgers and from the street. No, can't. It was fake. It was not a real place.
Is Big Belly Burger in the comic books?
Yes, Big Belly Burger comes from the comic books, and it's also seen in Superman. While they're in the
restaurant.
In the restaurant, they discuss the 1999 song by hardcore superstar, Someone Special. Peacemaker is singing it to Emilia Harcourt. She gets very embarrassed, but they kind of, you see that they're very much vibing, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a totally different interaction than you've seen from Harcourt and Peacemaker ever on the show, really.
Yeah.
And they're having a good time. She's still has such incredibly complex feelings about the fact that this is the man who killed her best friend. But she realizes that everything's not so black and white. And she starts to become his friend, you know?
That's what strikes me about the scene when you watch it is they are obviously good friends. They're comfortable hanging out. The conversation flows easily. She's drawing a little picture of him with her straw, a little box man,
Yep.
making fun of him. And he obviously likes her. He says it directly that you're someone special.
That she's cringe. Like, she just like, please don't call me so much. But I don't want the spotlight on me. I don't need this. I almost think that the events of this night cause her to just lose her mind a little bit because she can't deal with the ramifications of what is happening.
I think that we see in this episode from these two flashbacks that we have in this episode that Harcourt and Peacemaker today that we've been seeing for the whole season is Harcourt post what happens on the party boat, who's a closed off Harcourt. And Harcourt, from the time we saw her at the end of season 1, when she holds Peacemaker's hand, until the party boat incident, was a Harcourt that was opening up more and more and more, becoming a little bit of a freer person, and then something kind of broke in her.
Yeah, this night shifted her, I think, instantly.
Yeah. We see them, she walks out onto the boardwalk. It's very romantic. She says, you know, is Vigilante in love with you? It's something that people ask me a lot online. And he says, no, he's just looking for an older brother, which I think we see a lot more this season, that he's looking for someone to like look up to. And he does it with John Economos when Peacemaker isn't around. And there's this really nice moment where you look out at the lights and you're like, God, you're right. And I didn't know I wanted to be here. And John smiles at you, and he's very Cary Grant in this moment.
It was a pretty beautiful, aside from it being incredibly cold, it was a pretty beautiful night in general. I mean, it felt a little magical. It was really nice.
And then he sees something, and he's like,
Harcourt, we have to go.
Oh, come on. You're kidding me, really?
No, please.
No.
Please, they're the most underrated ever.
No!
And we reveal that it's the band Nelson playing on the ship. Now, people who aren't my age may not know who Nelson is.
No.
But Nelson was actually very popular in the 80s. They were formed in 1986 in Santa Monica, California. They were actually the twin sons of Ricky Nelson, who was, matinee idol from the 50s and 60s, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was in Rio Bravo and other things. And they were a band that had a couple of hits and then sort of fell out of favor. But in fact, they went on. I mean, their early stuff was fine, the stuff that was the pop stuff. But for me, and being a fan of this genre of music, they went on and created a couple of masterful albums, like really wonderful albums that would fit into the melodic rock category that's sort of more popular in Europe than it is here today. But they're really a fantastic band, and we'll talk a little bit more about them in a second. So they go to see Nelson, go back to present day. It's a little flash forward from where we were last season. We're in the prison with Chris, and Chris doesn't want to see any of his friends who are all trying to see him.
Because I'm the angel of fucking death.
We saw at the end of episode 7 from this season that as his brother Keith was almost dying in his arms, just all the people that have died around him were flashing through his head. And he says, the problem isn't that world, the problem isn't this world, the problem is me. I'm the angel of death. And he's taken that on fully, and he's just cut himself off from everyone he cares about. We go into Argus. Harcourt has her job back. Economos still has his job, and they're kind of all working together with all these people that we've met throughout the season. You know, Titties and
Cupid.
and Cupid Doll and Flurry and Sasha Bordeaux. And they're exploring the QUC. And this is like a really, fun little bit of like this odd QUC that's existed forever, which is a surreal place. And then us treating this with our protective suits and everything else as if it was real.
We have to get into these suits because we're hoping that we will find a door that is open and that we can go and investigate the world
What it is.
on the other side of the door.
Yeah, we're looking for something specific. We don't know just yet what it is, but one of the worlds we go in at the beginning is a world that we call Candyland. I'm sure that's owned by someone.
Milton Bradley or
Milton
something.
Bradley, but like we don't know what to call it, but it is a magical imp world. And we realized that there was
I think
this.
you actually called it Candy World, maybe, or something
Ooh,
like
that's
that,
good.
because you
Yeah.
knew
In the script, I called it something else. But
Yeah.
when we were talking about it on
Yes,
set,
yes,
we
yes.
called it Candyland.
Yeah.
And so they go into Candyland. This is a place that we actually heard in a throwaway conversation in episode 1 of this season, where Augie Smith is talking about the time that young Chris went to Imp World and tried to nab one of them giant peppermint sticks and bring it back. And he brought all these imps with him, which then were chasing him around the house. And Keith and Augie had to deal with by killing them.
And you totally, when you meet these imps, you go, oh, maybe Augie wasn't embellishing. Maybe one of those little fuckers did jack off in his cereal.
There's no doubt, because one tries to fuck Flurry's face through the mask, and
suck.
we see that they're little perverts, these little imps, and it's so I love it. And that whole world was done by the great VFX company Rodeo, who really came through for us and did some dynamite work on the visual effects. Those weren't real imps, and they were not imps, and they weren't little tiny human beings in costumes.
But those were giant edible candy cans.
We did build a lot of those.
have-
We did have a lot of giant candy cans. Some of those things were practical.
But we
yeah.
also had these squishy, jelly-filled,
Oh, that's right.
practical imps on set
That we had to squish.
That
Oh,
like when
cool.
she
Yeah.
rips that thing apart,
Yeah.
everything aside from the glitter that comes out
wow.
is just really
I
me
didn't-
ripping
I
a
never saw one.
jelly-filled
Yeah.
imp apart.
Also, the sound design, when you kill them, it's like a chime.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
Yeah.
It is so
And the
amazing.
glitter.
Yeah, glitter
And
explosions.
there's this sort of Bernard Herrmann score by Clint Mansell and Kevin Kiner playing, which is completely over the top. And it's such a mix. It reminds me really of the old Category 3 Hong Kong movies. I like if they had the budget or the ability to do CGI like this. And it's gory, and in all of this madness, we see the death of Cupid, of Klein, and Flurry, despite all of the shit that he's been giving this character, is completely stricken with grief, as is Harcourt.
And Harcourt, I think, is in this moment just going, what the fuck are they sending us into?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then we see that more, practically talked about when we go to the next scene, which is in Economos' house. And he is sort of filling Harcourt in on everything that's going on behind the scenes, how Lex Luthor is a part of this, and where Otis came from, and Happerson, and all these other characters that we met in Superman, and how they're all like now intertwined with Rick Flag. Rick Flag has kind of broken bad in a way, and he's working with all these bad guys, and we don't know what it is. Harcourt, and there's this rare moment between Harcourt and Economos where Harcourt says, yeah, they're looking for, maybe for natural resources or places to help with overpopulation.
I mean, she's starting to actually think about why are we doing what we're doing?
Right.
Not just, I have a job, I have a mission, I'm going to follow the directive of the mission. She's thinking, why though? Like, what's the purpose? Why are all these people
An
dying?
economist says, when has anything we've ever done been for the good of the people?
Yeah. And we see, Economos is a realist who's just sort of accepted the way things are, but he too is a good person and would rather be doing something more. We see Eagly is depressed because Peacemaker's in prison, which is a really sad moment with Eagly like cowering in the corner, and things are mixed up at best. We get to one of the most messed up scenes in the whole season where Adebayo goes to visit Adrian to try to talk him into giving up his money so that they can get a lawyer for Chris to get out of prison. And there's a really messy scene between Adrian and his mother, who he's mean to, and is shockingly dirty in front of both his mother and Adebayo. Would you like to talk about that scene, Steve?
No.
You can call me Lee. My wife calls me Lee.
Well, I guess if you guys give each other conolingus, then you can call her Lee.
Taylor, who played Adrian's mother, was
great.
was just wonderful. She was
good.
totally in on the joke
Down
and
for
just
anything.
down for anything, and she just had a fun time with us.
Yeah.
So.
This is blood money. It comes from drug dealers and gangsters and human traffickers.
It was blood money, but now it's just money.
I think of Adebayo as a vigilante whisperer. So
Yeah, she knows which buttons to push.
She knows what buttons
Which
to
is
push.
usually, I'm a better friend to Peacemaker. And he cannot fucking stand that.
Yeah, if you loved him, then you would do this.
I guess I'm just better friends with Chris than you, that's all.
What?
She kind of manipulates him in the same way that she does in season 1 when she manipulates him to go in and try to kill Peacemaker's father.
Peacemaker's father.
I'm willing to possibly take on a blood curse to help Chris, and you're just not.
Oh!
So Chris gets bailed out of prison, and then we have one of our biggest montages, probably the biggest, most expensive montage we've ever had, to the wonderful Steel Panther song, Fucking My Heart in the Ass. You love that song, right, Jen?
Oh my gosh, of all the songs I had to listen to, you play over and over and over and over and over endlessly while you were writing this series. That song, I was just like, oh my God. La la la, I was doing what you do.
Yeah, la 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 la.
I can't hear you, I can't hear you. Oh my gosh, this song, it's like, it is so fucking catchy. It pisses me off because
Really is.
I'm like, oh, I can't listen to this song again, but it's so catchy. And then you're listening to it and you're singing to it. It's very annoying.
I love it. It's a great
great song.
It's a great Peacemaker song because it's really funny and it's crazy and completely crass. But at the same time, there's something so sad. It's truly a sad song. It's about fucking my heart in the ass. Your heart's breaking.
Heartbreak.
And we hear the song is all these people that are friends of Economos and Sasha and Harcourt are dying, giving up their lives for God knows what.
By the way, I noticed, and it's really funny, that Judo Master is included in that group, and he's in a hazmat suit in his Judo Master
I
suit.
think that's really funny. He's got his Judo Master suit on underneath the hazmat
That's right.
suit.
He never gets to take it off.
He
even
never
when-
takes it off. No,
He's
he
got to
doesn't.
protect his secret identity,
Yeah.
even though everyone knows his name is Rip Jagger.
They know his name. They know his name. At the end, they find what they're looking for, this piece of property that seems safe and you can breathe the air and it's beautiful. And Harcourt gives it to Rick. Another callback here where she says, I'm sorry, I don't mean General. You told me to call you Rick. He doesn't register it. He's off with his new cronies. And we see finally the presentation of something really important to the DCU as a whole, which is the presentation of salvation to the Secretary of Defense.
Mr. Secretary, salvation is the prison.
I shot that scene while we were shooting Superman because we had the Pentagon set and we had James Liao, who plays the Secretary of Defense, and Sidney Happerson and Otis, played by my friend Terrence. Sidney Happerson, played by my friend, my best friend in the world, Stevie
Who you
Blackheart.
called evil economist.
I think of Sidney Happerson as evil John Economos in a way. He is. He's like this geeky evil guy,
Computer-y.
but he has nothing good about him whatsoever, and he just wants to kill metahumans, which is his backstory. And we learn that the reason they found salvation is not to help humanity in any real way. Well, they're trying to help humanity, but they're helping humanity by sending the metahumans into salvation. Villainous metahumans, they say, but metahumans. And this does come from the comics. There is a comic called Salvation that is a limited series in which Amanda Waller and Rick Flag say, screw it. There's all these metahumans that keep getting into prison and out of prison. Fuck it. we don't care what happens to them. This isn't about justice. We're going to send them to this other planet where they can't get off. Well, that's where we're sort of beginning our part of our larger story in the DC you here in this moment. By the way, Saul Rodriguez, who plays Sasha, those other people in that boardroom had already played those characters. But that was the first time like we had Saul come in and play that character. And like the second time I met Saul in person. So she had to come in there and do all of that on her very first day of acting. So that was the first time she played Sasha Bordeaux for real. And, you know, it's kind of a quiet role in which she has to react to the fact that they want to put her type, she's a metahuman, she's a cyborg, into salvation. And there's that sort of cold goodbye between Flag and her where he's kind of broing out on her. They obviously have had a sexual relationship. We see them in bed together during the fucking my heart in the ass montage, and she says that maybe she won't see him later. And I think we understand at some level that's the end of their relationship.
The first time I saw this episode, I was really struck by the image of the first time we see Salvation and the last time we see Salvation. From the perspective of Harcourt, it just killed me because she was, I think, joyous when she walked onto that planet. She was like, finally everyone can stop dying. And then the next time we see is at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And it's just in what that must feel like for Harcourt when she finds out eventually what it was for.
If she ever will.
I think, you know, she must know now. Whether or not we will ever see her find out, she must find out at some point.
Oh, I don't think she knows right now. No, she doesn't know where. Well, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, Harcourt comes home from another fight, apparently, where she's getting more medical stuff for her the wounds on her face, and she's called back to Big Belly Burger, and she's looking up at it as if it's this iconic, larger-than-life place, because it is in her memory. I think the iconography of it is, like, intense. She goes inside. She sits down with Sasha. There's an Alice Cooper song playing on the radio, I'll point out, one of my favorite artists. And Sasha tells Harcourt the truth, to which Harcourt's first reaction is...
She's like, okay, whatever. We didn't know. It's not our fault.
And then Sasha's losing it. She's broken up about this. And Harcourt's reaction to that is...
As tough as she is, you know, she's a very empathetic person, and she sees how much Sasha's struggling. And she says... This is the job. The job is what gives our lives meaning. I know we're similar in that way. As much as she butts heads with Sasha throughout this series, I think it's because of how similar they are in some ways, you know? But Sasha's set like, I can't do this.
Yeah. And that gives Harcourt an idea, which is, I have a friend who might have some similar ideas to you. And so we go back to the apartment. Dee Snider's absolutely amazing rendition of We're Not Gonna Take It off his solo album starts playing. You know, and not at all I like tons of Twisted Sister songs. Not my favorite Twisted Sister song, but after that, it's like, wow, I see why it's what it is. It's like Dee's voice is so beautiful. I actually talked to him about it. I'm not supposed to, but when it was playing, I recorded it on the monitor. And I sent it to Dee, because I've known, I don't know Dee well, but I've known him for a long time through, you know, like the horror movie
while
scene.
we were filming? And
while we were filming, I sent
playing
it to him.
over what you were shooting
Yeah,
on
I said, we're
set?
shooting this.
You sent that?
Yeah,
Wow.
I sent that to Dee. I trust him. And then he said, yeah, he was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he's like, I think they just sat down and did that song in like one take.
Wow.
Boy, the guy's voice is amazing.
That's amazing.
And we have this really beautiful moment where it's Adebayo meets Sasha Bordeaux, meets Harcourt, and something's brewing. There's the seeds of something there. Adebayo is obviously passionately explaining her ideas to Sasha. Mm-hmm. Harcourt goes into the bathroom, she's washing her hands, and, you know, by the way, I think she peed with the door open because the door was open.
Women do this all the time. It's not weird.
Okay.
Women don't, come on. I mean, right? You've peed in front of your friends before. It's not that weird.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, she goes to the mirror and she sees something in there and she pulls it out, and it's the fucking boat ticket. And now we get what we've been waiting for. And we see the full party boat sequence, which is something we worked really hard on.
We have been calling back to the whole season.
Yeah.
We want to hear about this boat. What's going on with the boat?
What happened on the boat?
What happened on the boat?
finally get to
Nothing.
see
Nothing
what
happened on the boat. Nothing. Will something happen? But forget about it because it didn't mean anything. Nope, it meant nothing. Forget about it. Move on. And we see that they kissed.
Yeah.
But the kiss wasn't just any kiss. It was an extraordinary and magical kiss that was
Shot by the great James Gunn.
shot by James Gunn. It's a lot of work. Also, by the way, I had to shoot you kissing someone, which was a little.
It was very uncomfortable for you.
It was the thought when we got there. It wasn't that uncomfortable. The thought of it was especially uncomfortable. I didn't want someone else to shoot it because I knew what the kiss should be like. Like, I can't explain it. Like, I think of Harcourt and Peacemaker together, and it's very romantic. I think of you kissing John Cena, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, there's few people I'd rather have you kiss because John is like somebody I trust completely and isn't exactly the type
Yeah,
of.
but I mean, there's very few actors I've ever worked with who think of kissing someone on set as an actual romantic experience. It's very weird. There's so many people around you. It's just as weird as this, only it's like you're making out with someone that you don't really know that well in front of everyone.
You've kissed
and
people on
cameras.
camera before.
Once.
I've kissed people on camera before. What was your experience like?
It was from the show Children's Hospital, very funny comedy, and I was at the Beverly Center. I was at the soup plantation with a friend, and I get a text going, hey, we had an actor drop out. Can you come shoot something with us? Can you be here in 20 minutes into the Valiant?
God.
And I was like, yeah, sure. They didn't tell me what it was. I get there, I'm in hair and makeup. They bring me the sides, and the first thing it says is, you know, my character is making out with the head of surgery's daughter. And I was immediately went into panic because I'd never had, I do comedy stuff. I never have to kiss anybody.
Right.
And I was terrified. And I was like, who's the actor? It's Lizzie Kaplan, who I already knew. I knew her through friends.
Yeah.
Not super great, but we were friendly. And I was so fucking nervous the whole afternoon leading up to that.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. So
It's a weird experience. I mean, I also understand that it must be weird seeing your wife kissing another person.
yeah.
I don't ever think about it like that though. When two actors are on screen, it just doesn't. It doesn't feel. It feels so technical.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and this
And
was
there's lights,
especially
and it's like-
this was especially technical because we had the Phantom camera and everything was in slow
So cool.
motion, and you guys had to go back in a certain way. Then you had to come together, and then the camera ramps down. Ramps down means it goes faster,
Back to
and so it's.
And you literally just have to do it over and over.
And we had to do it over and over,
again.
and then you're standing on the lazy Susan as we're curling around you, and it wasn't only that I had to direct you kissing a man; it was that I had to kiss you directing a man in
No,
front
you
of
had to direct me kissing.
what?
You said I had to kiss you directing a man.
I wish. I had to direct you kissing a man in front of like 200, 300 extras
Yeah.
more that were a lot of whom were fans. And so it was just the whole thing was kind of weird before it happened. I literally I was uncomfortable about it, admittedly. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like
I think
but,
we're getting that right now.
but then once we were doing it, I didn't give a shit. Like I was totally
you
fine.
You did. You instantly
I was
let it
looking
go.
at the kiss as like I'm fucking loving it because it's like these beautiful shots. I mean, some of our best shots ever
Shots
from
really
the
cool.
series are in that sequence.
By the way, I'm sure it wasn't great for John either. His wife Shay is
Yeah,
like
she was there.
down on the
Shay-
on the
Shay was
the
sitting
next
beside me.
level of. Oh, she was.
Shay
she
was
there
with me the
watching
whole
this,
time
yeah.
watching it. So yeah, Shay was hanging out with me while I was directing, and because it was warmer up there, and so she was watching the monitor next to
That
me.
boat was cold.
It was
guys.
cold.
Freezing.
It was cold. And Nelson were fucking great. And Foxy Shazam, who appear later in the episode, were watching Nelson. Nelson watched Foxy Shazam.
The guys from Foxy were watching Nelson, and they go, "This is a really good song.
Yeah, it's a really good song.
Really good song." They're-
The whole album's great, guys. The couple of Nelson albums around that time period were so good. incredibly well written, well constructed, pop melodic rock. But yeah, it's a beautiful moment between the two of them, and I think it's almost like the eagle hug, in season 1. It's like magic, and I think that's really what has fucked up Harcourt and scared her off. And there's that great like Liechtenstein like shot of you walking away, just fucked up from him, and then him alone in the crowd.
She has gone from a person who wants to murder this guy because he murdered her best friend to doing what I think she promised herself she wouldn't do, which is like allowing his charm to break down her walls. She was trying to keep those walls up for so long, and she failed. And I think that it doesn't really hit her until this moment, and she realizes what she's done.
Yeah.
What she's allowed in,
Yeah. And it's just way too much, too fast, too soon. You and Economos have lost access to tracking Peacemaker.
Anything related to
I'm not even sure the team knows about the tracking chip in Peacemaker, but you do. And you turn to Bordeaux and say, do you have access to Peacemaker? We go to Adebayo meeting with Kia, and wow, this is an amazing scene between Daniel Brooks and Elizabeth Faith Ludlow, who is Kia. Both of them just magnificent performances in a scene that's 100% straight. Like, straight between two gay people. But it's 100%
no jokes,
not a comedy whatsoever. And I'm really proud of it. I mean, they were so... The conversation to me is so real because you fall in love with someone, and that's great. And it's great to feel love and be excited and have those feelings. But what really, to me at least, matters in a relationship is you make the other person better and the other person makes you better, and that you bring out the light in each other and make someone better. And I think Danielle's character, Adebayo, is coming to the realization that they want different things in life. And for her to make it to the next stage of her evolution as a human being, that means she can't stay in this relationship. And for Kia to do the same means that she can't stay in this relationship. Right. And I think she says this very distinctly, and you realize Kia knows the same thing, but it doesn't make them love each other any less.
It tears me apart to my bones, and I will love you for the rest of my days, Key. But I know we ain't for each other.
There are sometimes problems in a relationship that can't really be overcome. Danielle's character, Adebayo, can't open up a pet store because it would mean that she can't be the super spy she was meant to be.
Each of them, if each of them stayed in the relationship, it would be denying the truth of what they want in their life. It would mean denying that on either end of the spectrum. So I think that's what's difficult about it. And one thing I want to say about Elizabeth's performance, for me as an audience member, is she does something that, it's such a real human thing that real human beings do, and a lot of actors don't do, including myself in a lot of things that I've done, early in my career, where she tries not to cry, which is what humans actually do. Like, tears start to come and you try really hard to compose yourself, and you try, but it just keeps coming anyway. And it's just really beautiful what she does. It's so present. Kudos to her if she's listening. It's really special. She just does such a great job with the little that she has.
And she's so in her own little corner. Like, we've never seen the other 11th Street kids interact with Kia. We don't even know if they have met her before. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably likely that Peacemaker's met her, but, I don't know about anyone else. So, because she mentioned she calls him a lunkhead in the first episode of the season. Mm-hmm. So many thanks to Elizabeth for just being a great partner for 2 seasons. Thank you. We go to Bordeaux and Harcourt and Economos.
One of my favorite scenes.
And one of my favorite scenes. Now, we talk a lot about improv on this show, and the truth is, there isn't actually that much improv on the show. No. But this scene was totally improv, and mostly by Steve. A few little things with me in there, but mostly by Steve. Economos' only job is to distract Sidney Happerson while Bordeaux and Harcourt find the location of Peacemaker. and I just told you to go off and do whatever you
Tell a
can.
joke.
You were just like, tell a joke. Oh my gosh.
And it's one of the best. Improvisation can be fun. When you're improvising bad improv, it's even more fun.
Yeah,
So like,
you're
I'm getting to tell a shitty joke, which is there's just no fucking wrong answers.
and you do it twice because you watch the post-credits scene and there's
Yes.
another shitty joke he tells. I couldn't decide which one was funnier to put in the main episode. It was really hard for me, but the people around me kind of liked the lobster one better, so I kept lobster in.
But not even the joke, but just this wasn't the script about the. Did you see the?
Yeah,
the
all that
prawns
part,
game?
all the prawns game.
That
and
was not improvised.
Shut up. Yes, fuck you, man. That was all in that script.
Yeah.
And there was one moment in there where you turned around to Harcourt and you said, "I'm dying here," and she says, "You're the worst in the world,
At
Black Ops."
Yeah.
And you go, "Okay, miss, I just took a shit," because that's what.
Referencing
Okay,
her.
miss, I just took a shit in there.
Yeah, because like that's what she says in episode 6, and I wasn't sure if people would remember
it.
her
Yeah.
saying. They probably will, but like that was because he's got a good point. You were pretty terrible at
I
it as
didn't-
well.
I mean, I succeeded, but I was not doing a great job.
He also succeeded.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got
No,
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they track Peacemaker to the hotel, and one of the reasons why I like this episode is just so many great scenes. Kia and Adebayo, the humor of that scene, the romance of the kiss, the very ending, which is incredible, the ending, the happy ending, the sad ending. But if you really ask me what is the most meaningful to me of all of them, in a way, I think it's the stuff in the motel, both inside and outside the motel. That's the stuff that hitches my heart. And we have the moment where it's a great moment where earlier Freddy's character Vigilante said, "Why don't you just tackle him?" and says he's an idiot for not doing it. And in this scene, they try to stop Christopher Smith from leaving, and Vigilante tackles him and tases him.
Effectively,
As everybody
worked.
screamed. And John's taser. I remember on set being like, John was like, "What should I do exactly?" And so we were looking up videos of people being tased so that he could act like someone that was tased. And that's kind of what they look like when he did.
We really are the apple dumpling gang.
They are the Apple Dumpling Gang, yeah.
yeah.
And so then we have the scene where you guys talk about Peacemaker. And again, a great performance by everybody in that scene. Cena's incredible. Danielle is the best she's ever been in the series.
All right, everybody around me fucking die.
Chris, listen to me. Every time someone around you dies, it's because you're not listening to yourself.
Basically, he's saying that he doesn't want to be around anyone because death follows him everywhere and everything he does leads to death. And Danielle says to him, and it's true, which is why I think it works so well, a couple of things that I find really touching. The first is that, yeah, death follows you whenever you don't do what you know is right. It's when you're listening to somebody or something else. So your dad told you to kill your brother, you did. Waller told you to kill Rick Flag, you did, you know. But when you are yourself, it's beautiful and magical. When you play the piano, when you get a hug from an eagle, when you're holding Harcourt's hand in the hospital room, when you're yourself, when you're who you truly are, it's beautiful. And for me, the Adebayo Peacemaker relationship is so important because he brings magic to her life and she brings vulnerability and rawness and truth to his. And the combination of those two things makes them both spectacular people. But then she says the thing to me that I find the most touching. And I'm crying. The thing I find the most touching in the episode is when she looks at him and she says, "You're big and you're dumb and you're stupid, but when I'm around you, I know you love me. And you might be the only person in the world that I can say that about." And I'm crying because it's touching and the way she performs it is touching. I'm also crying because that's my dad. And that was the way I felt about him. And that's probably Peacemaker. Goof. You know, this buffoonish, imperfect guy who's just so generous and so full of love. And I knew my dad loved me, and I'm not sure I was able to say that about anybody else in this world until Jen and, you know, recent history. And that to me is the most touching thing probably ever on the show.
Did you hear the lobster joke?
Yeah,
Totally
gosh, you know,
improvised.
it's really beautiful. You know, you do pull aspects of characters that you write from people in your life, and
Yeah.
there was this beautiful, very Peacemaker-like thing about your dad.
Yeah.
For
You know?
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you knew him too, Steve.
Absolutely.
You knew my dad. And then we get into, you know, then we get into kind of fuck everyone else. Like we get to where I think we've been building the whole time for the 11th Street Kids. Like this has been their story the whole time. And Harcourt says, fuck all these people. We're going to do something good in the world. We're going to change the world. We're done listening to everyone else. Peacemaker is invited to join. He does. They walk out. Everybody goes away. Peacemaker follows Harcourt outside. He says again, after all this, what about the boat? Which he keeps bringing up.
How do you feel about what happened on the boat? And she's like, oh my God, the boat again. And it's kind of now or never for Harcourt.
It is.
You know,
This is going to be the
this
last
is
time
the
he's going to ask
moment.
about the boat. You know that.
And I think she actually considers it for a second. She considers going, we're not talking about the boat and leaving, but instead she turns back around and she says,
He says, did it mean? He says, I'm not asking you to commit to me. I'm not asking you to be my girlfriend. I'm not asking for anything from you. I just want to know if it meant anything to you.
yeah. And she says, of course it did, you fucking asshole. She has to put that in there. Like,
Yeah.
she can't just say it. She's gotta put her little, you know, I'm not totally being sentimental here, spin on it that she does. She says, of course it did, you fucking asshole. It meant everything. It's really a nice moment. And it's so sad to me when I read that. I was like, ooh, someone's maybe gonna die, because this is a moment that we don't normally get to between these two characters until something's gonna change in the you know.
Yeah. And then there's that great
James not going to end a show on just
I was like,
the biggest happy moment in the world.
Well, I'll tell you something interesting. So, and I'll tell you that in a minute. But there's that great shot of you so vulnerable before you walk away that I really love. And then we go to the happiest montage I've ever shot in my entire life, which is the gang taking all of Vigilante's money and putting it into some new endeavor as Foxy Shazam is on the party boat today, now, and we see them forming Checkmate. Now, anybody who's read the comics knows that Checkmate is an entity in the comics. That's where Sacha Bordeaux is most famously a member of. And now we know in the DCU, the 11th Street Kids are Checkmate, basically. Only with a couple of extra members now of people who we've seen change, and that's Sacha Bordeaux, Langston Fleury, Tim Meadows' character, and Judo Master, who's joined them, and after bonding with Adebayo on Earth 2. And we see Checkmate making the world better, and we look up and we see Eagly, who last we saw hiding in a corner, flying happily around the sky. Okay, the first draft ended there.
What? Wow.
wild.
The first draft ended there. and I
Wow.
gave it.
I can't even.
I gave it to Peter Safran, and I said, I had another thing I wrote that I put on the ending, and he's like, "What?" And we knew salvation was a part of our future. I didn't know I was going to put it here. We knew it was a part of the DCU plan. And I told him what it was, and he goes, "Oh, you got to put that in there."
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that we reveal is that Peacemaker and Harcourt are truly together. And I'll tell you the other thing we reveal. The other thing we reveal is Foxy Shazam, and that song is not a Chris Smith song. That's an Emilia Harcourt song.
She is a
She's the one that
huge
knows.
Foxy Shazam fan.
She's a Foxy Shazam
Singing
fan.
along, every word.
Also a great moment between you and Eagly.
Yeah. I get a half hug.
By the way, I also
beautiful.
felt like I needed to have that moment because of what's about to happen. Because I need people to know
Oh, yeah.
that Eagly has a home.
Good hands.
And somebody else that he's starting to love a little bit.
Sure.
Besides just Chris. Anyway, we have this last little moment where Peacemaker is abducted wearing his Foxy Shazam t-shirt of all things.
Yep.
And taken and thrown onto this new world of salvation, which they've now figured out a way to have it lead directly from the warehouse to the other dimension. They throw him out there saying that he volunteered for this, even though he's not a metahuman. And Rick Flag Sr. gets his ultimate revenge, telling him, "This is for Ricky, you piece of shit." He walks around, his reckoning by the cruel intentions starts to play. And although the planet is supposed to be a safe haven, even though they're putting prisoners there, we realize this is not the case because we hear some hellish squeals from some sort of beasts all around Peacemaker.
Yeah.
And the season
And they close the portal.
and the season ends as they shut him in there.
Ooh, that's rough.
And now, peace thoughts.
When I read the script, I was like, this is it, question mark? So hopefully it means somehow some of the band is getting back together because I love making this show. Now, let's get into it. Let's get in it. Let's get in there. Let's get up in there. Let's do it. Do you want to do it? Is this, we're now consensual. Let's do it. This guy has been searching through this journey for love, acceptance, honesty, everything that the human condition wants. And he's had to go to another universe to try to connect with these people who he thinks will give it to him. And all along, the people he connects and loves with most are the ones who be like, yo, you're our guy.
We're not letting it go. You're one of us.
You can choose your family, and you can choose those you love. And that's a strong moment for everyone to be like, do you want to sit back and waste away? Or do you have the power to forgive and move onward? And if you do, let's fucking do something good, man. You want to be a hero? Okay, it's going to be hard work, but let's go.
We're gonna do something, Chris. For us. And for the world.
You assemble the new Checkmate squad. We've seen what everyone's capable of now, and now you have this team that looks very formidable and is going to be like another branch of this universe. And then the hammer gets put down.
The fuck is this, Flag?
The final moment in this 8-episode block of this 2-season thing is just a grain of sand on the beach. This shows the storytelling of James Gunn. And I want to know what's next. I want to see, even if it doesn't involve me. Apparently, I'm stuck in a Foxy Shazam t-shirt, and the next time you see me, I should have hair down to here and a huge full beard. I would love to have a perfectly manicured stash to somehow use like maybe a saber-tooth tooth to like shave my face. The bones of a predator, maybe I whittle them down just to shave my face, not to kill prey. That'd be a good idea. I hope y'all enjoy season 2. Honestly, we had a ton of fun. I think you can tell by how people are riffing on the podcast how much fun we had. Man, if you don't watch it, we don't get to do it. So watch, enjoy, tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. This has been Cena's Peace Thoughts. Back to you, James, Jen, and Steve. We now return to our regularly scheduled program.
Every song is so good. We talked about We're Not Gonna Take It, the acoustic version. Talked a little bit about Reckoning by Cruel Intentions.
Might be a 3-way tie.
I don't know. Between what?
Nelson,
Nelson.
Dee Snider.
Yeah.
I would do like we did season 1, full circle with the
What
credit
about-
scene.
For me, it's
Foxy.
Reckoning. I mean, there's no question. That song is so good.
Reckoning?
Yeah.
No way. I mean, yes, it's a great song, but you would think more so than Fucking My Heart in the Ass? Or
That is
Oh my
great
gosh.
too. Maybe
Someone
a 4,
special?
Stop with
maybe a
it.
5-way tie.
And we're not going to take it, the D's version? They're all great, but I'm not saying I like this one the best, but it is the most prominent besides Oh Lord, which is obviously very prominent, which is Fucking My Heart in the Ass. It's off of Steel Panther's 2014 album, All You Can Eat. According to this, Steel Panther's an American comedic glam metal band from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Formed in 2000. They were originally Metal Shop, then Metal School. I knew them as Metal School. They were very,
same.
very popular in Los Angeles for these
Oh yeah.
crazy hair metal performances in
Yeah.
the day. And then finally Steel Panther in 2008. They call them a parody band, but I actually love tons of their songs, but their songs are also incredibly, incredibly funny. Go and listen to them on whatever your music listening place of choice is, but also you can hear Fucking My Heart in the Ass on Peacemaker Season 2 LP album.
Yeah, maybe play it for your mom or whatever.
Play it for your mom.
Make a great wedding entrance song or
To Get Back to You is a song by Nelson, and that's off of their 2010 album Lightning Strikes Twice. And yeah, people should go listen to that entire album. I asked my friends Gunnar and Matthew Nelson if they wanted to leave a message to us about the show, and this is what they had to say.
Hey, James. Hey, Jen. Hey, Steve. How's it going? Gunnar and Matthew here, otherwise known as the most underrated ever. Thank you, James. Appreciate that.
That was good.
We had the best time filming this episode, Full Nelson in Savannah, 2 nights. The best time we've ever had. We had an absolute blast, and I gotta say a couple things. Respectfully, I understand why the entire world has fallen in love with Jen. I get that, totally. And oftentimes when you meet your heroes, you're disappointed. And I'm happy to say that nothing could have been further from the truth. James, you're awesome. What a gift. And
The whole cast that was there. was
and
fantastic.
everybody, Steve, everybody. It
And
was,
Foxy Shazam watching us perform was amazing. They were so cool and so supportive.
and we watched them, and honestly, we got tired watching them. Those guys have some energy.
They really do. They make us look like, well, like us.
Yeah, but thank you so much for the experience, and we've been bragging about it ever since we filmed. And sorry about the background noise, but we got a show to play.
We do. We're here in Southern California, kind of our home base. And, well, it's good to be home, but we wish we were with you.
All right, lots of love, you guys. Thanks again, and God, amen to the Peacemaker, you guys. Take care.
I really appreciate those words. Boy, I have to say, that was my most fun day on the set, shooting with Nelson and shooting,
so awesome.
You know, they
shooting with Foxy Shazam.
They came down to Savannah like maybe a day early or something like that, and hung out and saw the set. And they came while John and I were at the Big Belly Burger and kind of saw us
And
filming
hung out,
for a little
yeah.
while and hung out. And they're just really cool guys.
Really nice guys.
Yeah.
They're so nice.
Also worth noting that in the background of Foxy Shazam playing is me and
me.
Steve and Gunnar and Matthew and the whole Nelson band.
That's right.
Was Lars back there?
And I think Lars is back
I think
there.
a lot of our crew was
the
back
crew.
there.
I just said, come on, guys, let's all come out. And the whole crew came out there. A lot of our PAs and everybody went out
Yeah.
there, and we all just were dancing
God,
around.
so
in the
fun.
back, like by the bar.
So
By
fun.
the bar, yeah. If
Yeah.
you look in the very back, somebody might be able to freeze frame and find us back there.
Yeah. Eagly Airmail. Final one. All right, we got 2 questions. First one is from Royson.forlife on Threads. What was the funniest ad-lib line of the whole season?
I have a personal favorite.
Oh, I know what it is. What is it?
It's
She
it's
haunts.
she haunts.
She haunts.
She haunts.
She haunts, yeah. She haunts is
Oh, yeah, that's
so
great.
funny. And that was probably the hardest I was laughing this season, is when you were talking to David Denman in episode 6.
He says, it's so weird that he would give that snow globe to you because our mother gave that to him. And I say, I love your mom. She's great. And he says, she died when we were, kids or something like that. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. Like, Yeah, well, no, we talked to her, from the grave.
Yeah, and then David's reading
she's
of
a
from
ghost.
the afterlife. And you're like,
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm just in Harcourt's like, she's gotta commit now, and she's like, yeah, she's a ghost. She haunts.
She haunts. She haunts. Okay.
And finally, from Humakoa on Threads, this is for James. Which action set piece changed the most and why, whether due to budget, time constraints, etc.?
Action set pieces don't really change that much once you.
Yeah, once I write it, I'm pretty hardcore that we need to kind of fit it into that, bit. Now, were some of the action sequences by other directors more like I envisioned them than other ones? I mean, Greg's stuff was very similar to what I imagined the sequence in the DMV was, for instance.
The Eagly fight.
Really much like it was written, and I had also gone over all of the stuff. The Eagly fight, I'd gone over all the stuff. And it was definitely Hank, the stunt coordinator, had a big say in that, Dave and Hank. Kupperberg Park was a really hard sequence to cut together, so that's the one that I guess kind of changed the most, yeah.
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 Well, as we bring this final episode to a close, the most fun thing for me about this was just getting to reminisce about these really amazing times in my life. If I could just make this show with you guys, I'm gonna get sad for the rest of my life. I'd be so happy doing that.
Ditto. Ditto.
I just love
Not to put
this
any
whole
pressure on
team.
you, James.
I love doing it. I love doing it with the two of you, and it's been really fun. And I love talking. I legitimately love talking about this show. I could not talk about anything else like this, nothing. But I love the show so much. I love the people on the show, and I love that the fans have such a depth of stuff to get into with this show. So much to learn. So if you've only listened to this episode, go back and listen to the other episodes. There's so much interesting stuff here. And I love being able to sit with you guys, the fans who are listening or who are watching, and be able to talk about how these scenes are working in our heads and what we're seeing and how we're experiencing them and what we think of them, and share that with you guys. And then also you guys share with us, and feel free to share with us on, social networking and so forth. So thank you to the fans for watching and joining us on this journey, both watching the show and listening to this podcast. Thank you to each of you for doing this for me.
Of course.
I appreciate it. We're doing this out of the love of our hearts for the show. And it's because we are true believers in Peacemaker, the television show, and these characters. And we like to preach the word of that belief. And so thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for watching the show and just making it the success that it is. And that's it. Peacemaker will be back as this TV show. We'll see exactly what form. We have plans, but you'll see all these characters in the future of the DCU in not too long.
Peace out.
Peace out.
This was an OBB sound production for HBO Max and DC Studios, hosted by James Gunn, with co-host Jennifer Holland and me, Steve Agee. Executive producers for DC Studios are Phil Sopanides and Gary Barbosa. Executive producer for HBO Max is Becky Rowe. Executive producers for OBB are Michael D. Ratner, Scott Ratner, and Toby Lawless. Special thanks to, from DC, Mike Pilata and Victor Diaz. And from HBO Max Design, Tom Haskard, Martha Duarte Diaz, Ryan Cronin, Brett Krause, and John Northway. Producer, Toby Lawless. Producer for HBO Max is Aaron Kelly. Research producer, Jesse Holland. Associate producer, Tess Bartholomew. Associate producer, Chris Stipp. Production manager, Kevin Lynn. Studio coordinator, Elijah Matias. Director of photography, Chris Piper. First assistant camera and camera operator, AJ Knipe. Gaffer, Arthur Garcia. Key grip, Jake Reeder. Sound mixer, Josh Falcon. Sound mixer, Darren Bowling. Post-production supervisor, Mariana Cristostomo. Lead editor, Jesse Holland. Editor, Louis Sinibaldi. Assistant Editor, Mark Alcacid. Hair and makeup artist, Kendall Shannon. Director of Creative Development and Social Strategy, Lenore Castro. Senior Coordinator, Creative Development and Social Strategy, Sharif Bakari. Production Assistant, Antonio Cavallo.
And now let's all get the fuck out of here.